Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting of Denmead Parish Council on the 25th of October 2023. The first item on the agenda is apologies, and I've received apologies from Councillor Stallard this evening. That's the only apology that we've received. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Arising from this agenda, members and officers are invited to declare any relevant interests. Notwithstanding this item, members may subsequently declare an interest at any point during the meeting. I need to declare an interest because I'm on the orders for payment on page 2. Councillor Brown?
I'll declare an interest because you're on the orders for payment.
Thank you. Are there any further declarations? Okay, thank you very much. Excuse me. So item 3 is to receive the minutes of the previous full council meeting, to receive and confirm the accuracy of the minutes of the council meeting held on the 13th of September 2023. These have been circulated. Has everybody had a chance to read them? And is everybody agreed that I should sign them as a true record of the meeting? Thank you very much. I will do so. Thank you, Sarah. Item 4 is Denmead Parish Council projects to receive and to note. That list has been circulated to everybody. We do have an update on the first item, which is the Mugger meeting. We have now received planning permission and the tender document with all the amendments, planning timelines and additions that were needed regarding the tree protection. The next action is for the Mugger Working Party to meet, and we have our procurement policy in place. So what we need to do is this is for the Cemetery Lane, if that's correct. Contract finder?
Yeah, to find it. So just this one.
Yeah, but that's for the Cemetery Lane contract, isn't it?
Yeah, just ignore that one.
Right, so the Mugger Working Party, so we need to define the timeline, to advertise the tender once full council have been updated and the timeline has been agreed. The financial streams, so we're anticipating community infrastructure levy, and then do some publicity and consultation and a banner and agree the next steps. So that's just to note. Yeah. Councillor Puccini.
I think just to note we're determining whether we need to meet or whether we'll do that by correspondence, but we'll cover all of those points.
Yes. Yeah. So do we need to meet, or are we clear on what we need to do going forward? Councillor Brown?
I agree with everything last night by our email, but I think we've got everything in place. So.
But we can make sure we clarify that by email to you, Sarah, so you've got what you need to move forward.
Absolutely, that's great. Okay, so are we all agreed then we go forward? Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarah. And we note the rest of the projects. So we come to the public participation session, and the meeting will recess for not more than 15 minutes to allow any members of the public to address the meeting. Does anybody?
Can I ask just a question? It's nothing to do with on the agenda. I noticed recently that piece of land came up for auction at Old River.
Yes.
Car park. It's a car park at the moment, and it's sold. I think just slightly concerned as to what the intentions are, because it clearly didn't belong to the council.
It didn't belong to the council. It was actually owned by a private equity, private investment company. I did look into it, including all of the land registry information and all of the clauses that were attached to that piece of land. It probably is big enough potentially to be a building plot, but there are an awful lot of conditions attached. The parish council owns the land around that part, and obviously the cultivation plots. I keep wanting to call them allotments, they're not the cultivation plots. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Because it obviously didn't, it wasn't part of the social housing
No, it wasn't.
section, was it? It was part of the original development. I think I'm living in Forest Meads. It's a rat run at school times, and that area does get used to parking. And I did try and do a bit of research on, like, you know, on the land registry thing, because I would have thought there'd probably been rights on there for parking. And I don't really know how it was sold off, when it was sold off by. But yeah, just concerns are still parking up there.
Yes, I think it's a watch and see. Any further questions or comments in the public session? Okay, thank you. In which case I'll now close the public participation session and we'll move on to item 6, which is to receive the minutes, reports, recommendations and resolutions from the meetings below. In accordance with Standing Orders 12, the minutes to be received by council are those that have been approved by the appropriate committee. So we received the Amenities Committee minutes of the 6th of September, Planning Committee minutes of the 30th of August and the 20th of September, Finance Administration and Personnel Committee minutes of the 23rd of August, and the Highways and General Purposes Committee minutes of the 16th of August. So we've received those, thank you. Item 7 is new councillor applications. To receive 2 applications to join Denmead Parish Council. So we have 2 applications, one from Debs Carson and the other from Kathy Kane. Both here this evening, welcome. Which of you would like to go first? Would you like to speak to council and say why you'd like to join us?
Reading is too much. Okay, so it's been 2 years since I sat that side of the table, and I'd like to believe I'm older and wiser, and I'm certainly one of those. In that time, I've not been idle. The Great Denmead Litter Pick has entered its 5th year with an astonishing approximately 5 tonnes of litter removed from our main approach roads, and in which raising over £1,000 for wounded veteran charities. I became a Scout District Skills Instructor for the Discovery Sailing Project, and I'm now a qualified RIA skipper, taking young people on sailing adventures that truly do develop amazing life skills and help shape our next generation of leaders. I've also delivered my 3rd non-profit sailing event for over 40 women with disabilities, both mental and physical, subject very, very close to my heart. And for many of these, I know from the feedback that these events are life-changing. I've also completed personal challenges, including in September, just Wainwright's Coast to Coast, a major challenge, really, 200 miles solo and unsupported, giving a time for my own personal growth and well-being. And I continue to help raise my grandchildren alongside my wonderful bipolar daughter, who also live with my husband and I up in Anthill Common. I disappear or escape to my large allotment at Barn Green and spend happy days down there, many of them, tending my produce that has led to near self-sufficiency. It will be hard for you to understand that I have an unusual and extreme form of arthritis that began in my 20s and was classified as a disabled employee in 2013. Because I can walk forever, but I can't sit at a desk. I can only sit at a desk for a very short period before I have too much pain. That led to a premature and sad end to my career as the European Client Satisfaction Manager for IBM. My company leads me safely into early retirement, and I'm forever grateful that my 30 years of service was so rewarded. My level of physical ability comes from a determination to keep active and moving and live the best life I can, showing what's possible when life gives you lemons and helping other adventurous women with disability do the same. I'm a doer. I feel now is the right time to offer both my business and personal skills to help serve the parish. When you discuss my application, I would like you to consider that I sit on only one committee to reduce the physical impact on me, which is at its most in the evening. But I will understand that if you consider that will create an undesired precedent that's for you to discuss and fully. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kathy?
Hello, so my name is Kathy Kane, I'm a long-term resident of the village. I've put quite a lot of detail in my written application, so I wasn't going to repeat that because you had a chance to read it already. But my family moved here in the 60s, and I've lived here a lot of the time since then, the vast majority of my life, therefore. And I've seen lots of changes and lots of improvements in the village over that time. When I moved here, I remember my mother regularly saying that no one addressed you apart from, I think you were always Mrs. Kane. And you weren't a familiar person. You were never, unless you went to the village school. And so it was a very closed, small village, and now it's an open and welcoming place to live. We've kept a lot of the strengths, but it's about saying hello to people in the road, talking to people as you meet them, and people having an open outlook on that. And I think those are really important things, and I would want to be fostering those and encouraging people to talk and to speak and gathering people's views and then to represent what people are wanting, changes that they might like, things that they see as goals for the future of the village. I think those are the things I would probably want to say most, in addition to what I've written down.
Okay, thank you very much. I will ask the question I normally ask to both of you. It is a time commitment joining council. We have meetings, if you're on various committees, every Wednesday. Always full council is on a Wednesday, and normally people serve on 2 committees. So it is a time commitment. Is that something that you are prepared for? Kathy?
Yes.
Yes.
I think I showed in my previous life that I was very committed to attending meetings.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll open the floor to councillors to ask questions. Councillor Brown?
That's not what I asked, but first one is to Debs. What's changed since you were last on council? What brings you to come back? And a second half to that is, which will go to both of you, whether you can work with everyone on council and get along with them.
I made a decision to resign 2 years ago, and I think it's a fair question. The decision at the time, believe it or not, was based on an issue around trees. That's what led to me submitting my resignation. I think, as I said, I'm older, and perhaps a little wiser now, and this hindsight is a wonderful thing. And were it now, I would not have made that same decision. However, it was obviously a catalyst, because we didn't know what was taking place at the time, and that also brings me to a second question. Can I get along with all the members? Okay. I think the fact, possibly, that I'm sat here in front of you all again, which isn't necessarily an interview, cap in hand, hat on back, is actually also a demonstration that I'm certainly prepared to try as hard as I possibly can to help this council move forward from what's been taking place. I know that that's what council wants to do. That means we all have to get on and represent the parish, whatever our personal feelings are. And yes, I'm prepared to do my utmost to do that.
Okay, thank you. Kathy? Also, the second half of the question. Not
Thank you. So I'm prepared to work with everyone. I don't have any reason why I shouldn't want to. In my work on the Memorial Hall committee, Uh, we have welcomed anyone and everyone to join the committee. We've always worked in a very constructive way. That's my preferred way of doing things, and that's what I understand the parish council wishes to do. It's about constructive discussion to reach decisions which are in the interests of the parish.
Thank you.
Any further questions? No?
Sorry.
Councillor Brown? Okay.
No one else says anything. That's always me. Just the thing of Deb's saying about working on serving on one committee. I don't think that's something I could support. I think we need people to come on and attend meetings.
I will just advise members that I believe it would be breaching the disability discrimination, because if you have a physical reason why you can't sit, then I don't believe that there is a problem in sitting on one committee. Councillor Bacini?
I completely agree, it's an adjustment for disability.
Absolutely. I think it's a reasonable adjustment for council to make, should members be so minded. Any further questions? Okay, in which case we will go to a vote. If you would like to hand out some paper, just pass the papers round, and we'll, right. So Deb's is blue and Kathy is green. Got one. Pass that one. Pass that one. Oh, I didn't take a blue one. Sorry, can you pass me that blue one? Thank you.
So Deb's blue, the green.
Yes, Deb's Carson blue, Kathy Kane green. And if you could fold your piece of paper into four, please.
You can have one blue, actually lots of green. Well, there's only one blue one left. Right? Oh, actually, only one left. We've got some more blue because
Blue paper for everyone.
Colours again for people.
Deb's Carson is blue and Kathy Kane is green.
And then the problem comes with the floor.
I'm very green, is it?
That's kind of where it came from.
okay. It's been a blue there. Oh, there's some blue.
We have an origami lesson tonight.
Thank you very much. No?
Try not to do it. Not tell me this.
Yeah, I show. So you're doing files. Sorry.
Can we just, that piece of paper is blank.
Yeah. So we have 9 pieces of paper. And if you can double check. very much. So we have majority yes for Debs Carson and majority yes for Kathy Kane. So welcome both to council. So if you would like to join us. So welcome. In terms of committees, we need people on planning. So can you both please serve on planning? And in addition, Councillor Kane, would you join us on the Highways Committee as well?
Can I? Yes, is that the only? Is that
Yes,
the only one you need?
that's where we need people at this point in time. We look at things again in May. Yes, it is on the agenda in a minute. Okay, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Sorry, Councillor Brown.
Can I ask Councillor Carson if she'd be prepared to serve on highways, just so that she is informed on the subject, and if she is able to attend, then she can attend?
I don't believe so, because Councillor Carson has already stated when she applied that she would prefer to serve on one committee.
Okay.
Councillor Bajini?
The planning committee meets twice as often as the other committees, so I don't know if that would be a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Could I just respond to Councillor Brown? I understand what you were suggesting, but I would not like to be in a position where I was sitting on a committee that did not attend because I was not able, because I feel attending the committees, that's what you should be doing.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on to item 8 on the agenda. Councillor Brown.
Does it mean we have to change our standing rules?
I don't believe so, no. I did discuss with Clark previously. Thank you. So we move on to item 8, which is to receive district councillor reports. I did submit a report. The Winchester Full Council meeting has been moved from the 2nd of November to the 30th of November, and there are several consultations happening currently which I encourage you to engage with. No.
Huh?
2nd of November to the 30th of November.
All right, I thought you meant it was the 30th of October. When you said it was I apologise.
That's okay.
You said to me it was the 30th of October.
So there are several there are several consultations happening at the moment. The first is a statement of community involvement, which is a consultation to provide feedback into how public, businesses and interest groups can get involved in the creation of local planning policy. You cannot complete that survey anonymously. They've also made it very difficult to complete it because you actually need this policy document open at the same time that you're actually completing the survey. So it's not very easy, but it is worth completing. And the second is a recycling survey, and that closes on the 26th of November. There are big changes on the horizon with new government legislation and changes to waste processing in Hampshire, and Winchester are consulting on what residents would like to see in future. There was talk at one point that we would end up with 7 recycling bins. I don't believe that's now going to be the case, but they are talking, one of the key ones is about food waste recycling. Please share those consultations and complete them if you have time. Thank you. Okay. Councillor Kay, could I ask that you swap seats with Councillor Carson, because the clerk has a pack that you could then share for the rest of the meeting if you're sat together, if that helps. If you move,
swap, I don't think.
oh right, no, yeah, just swap so that you, if that's all right. so that you've got access to the rest of the paperwork for the meeting.
Okay, gotcha. No problem.
Thank you, Councillor Clay. Okay, so we'll move on to item 9, which is the financial section of the meeting. The first one is orders for payment. To consider and approve the orders for payment list 10, which has previously been circulated. I will not vote on this. It has been circulated. Can I have a show of hands to approve the payments, please?
We haven't seen them, so.
No? Okay, it's the blue. Oh, okay. So you can't vote on this item. Councillor Virginia? Sorry, show of hands, please, all those that approve payments. Thank you very much. I will sign. Thank you very much. Item 2 is to note that the accounts for September 23 have been issued as of the 30th of September 23, and we note that. We move on to bank reconciliations to receive and agree the bank balances as of 30th of September 2023, to confirm the balances and for the Chairman to sign the statements and reconciliations for the Lloyds current account number 2336468 with a balance of £352,740 and 93 pence, and the cooperative current account number 658079118 with a balance of £38,927 and 36 pence. Can I have a show of hands for me to sign those, please? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Item 4 is the draft proposed budget for 24-25. We have an informal budget setting meeting. To note that the RFO has booked this room on Thursday, the 9th of November between 7 and 9, and members' attendance would be appreciated. Apologies if you are planning on not attending, would be appreciated beforehand so that we can start the meeting promptly. And the date was chosen because we have financial deadlines in so that we can get the precept agreed and submitted to Winchester in a timely fashion. So we note that. So that's a note for your diary, Thursday the 9th of November, please. Item 10, reports from parish representations on other bodies. Denley Community Centre, Councillors Andrioli and Brown.
I think the only thing I can say that they were asked that they were mentioned at their last 2 meetings have both been, where is our lease? We have agreed a lease with you, why haven't we got it yet? And I hope you're not paying the solicitor by the hour. Was it one comment from last week's meeting? They are kind of eager to sign it.
Okay.
They have their beer festival on Saturday, and last we heard there were still tickets available. And for those who like rugby as well, they are showing the Rugby World Cup final so that people will come and still drink beer. Don't think there's anything else. Is there anything for you?
No, we should expect a grant application from them. They are processing that at the moment. But apart from that, I think everything else was,
Oh, yeah, so something that the clerk emailed some of us, if not all of us, about this morning. They mentioned last week about the photocopier outside.
yes.
Because obviously at the moment we pay half the cost of that rental and we're not using it. And I did advise that they contact the clerk to see what the situation was. So there was an email this morning, I think, from the clerk on the subject.
Okay. Anything further, Councillor Brown?
No, I think that comes up.
Thank you very much. Winchester District Association of Local Councils and Southern Parishes, Councillor Andrew Early.
Actually, managed that they decided that the latest Winchester District Association of Local Councils meeting would actually be held during the daytime. So I actually managed to go, because it was on Wednesday, and sat and listened through the same talk from the same councillor from Hampshire, who is in charge of roads, etc., that we had at Southern Parishes. There was membership, the executive was re-elected because it was the annual general meeting, and there wasn't a great deal that I didn't cover last time as in Southern Parishes. It was mentioned again how much seal money Winchester has sat in its bank ready to give to people to use. That's about it, really. I think.
Okay. Thank you. Item C, Hambledon and District Welfare and Education Trust, Councillor Andrew.
I can't remember now, Chair, whether the next meeting's in November or December, but we're near 2 a year. So there's nothing to report.
Thank you. Item D, Dimley Twinning Association, Councillor Clay.
The Fish and Chip Supper, which was held in month, went really well. In attendance of 65 people, with the raffle at the end. And we're looking forward to the next event on the 25th of November, which is the Farm Dance. So if anyone fancies some tiptoeing moves or anything fancy, go along. It's open to all. And that will bring us to the end of this year events.
Okay. Thank you very much. Item E, Scouts Liaison, Councillors Brown and Jones.
They've not called us to a meeting at all. I don't think they've had a meeting yet. There are some issues that I will speak with Councillor Jones about. We will be emailing them around.
Okay, thank you very much. Football Liaison, Councillor Virginie and Langford Smith.
So I did email the notes of the last meeting with Denny Football Club chair, Howard Broad, to everybody, so you will have seen those. They've had a number of matters that they're discussing and that are being discussed by the Amenities Committee, particularly around they're still keen to secure some sort of tenure agreement or some recognition of the fact of their long-standing presence on King George V Fields, and that's to support them with their sort of league requirements. There's still a lot of back and forth about signage, and they weren't happy with the June Amenities Committee's decision on the size and placement of the sign. So we're basically sort of trying to work with the councils of what the committee agreed. And there's been some other bits and pieces that they fed back to us, which was sort of working with the committee clerk and the clerk to look into. But overall, they're really happy with the relationship that they have with us at the moment and being able to raise their concerns and their wishes. So that's positive feedback for council.
Thank you very much, Councillor Virginie. We'll move on to item G, the Lease Working Party, Councillors Brown, Jones and Berry.
Yep, met Demi Baker, and that's on the confidential report list.
Thank you very much. Denley Village Association, Councillors Clay and Stallard.
The PVA got a couple of events lined up this year. One coming up this Saturday, which is the Halloween Creechwood Walk, and that young children have to go to. It's free entry, so if anyone wants to come along, please do. We're advertising it quite well on some of the large Facebook groups that allow us. and obviously our website. So we're trying to get the attention out there towards community project driven. And then our next event will be November the 17th, which is our AGM Cheese and Wine, which is open for the first entry for free. So if you work with friends or want to come along for the first session, you're welcome to. After that, you obviously have to pay for that membership. That will be our events and what we're doing for the rest of this year.
Thank you very much. So we'll move on to item 11, which is policy reviews. To receive and review the following policies as part of the ongoing review programme. A, the no smoking policy. Members had an opportunity to read. Councillor G.
I don't have any comments on the policy as written. I just wasn't sure if we needed to check whether there were any health and safety requirements around smoking when we've got people working out and about around the village. I don't know if there's anything that needs to be included around smoking next to vehicles or basically being in a fixed location. That we may have already explored that.
That's why this policy has been written, is to stop that occurring.
Okay. It didn't seem to strike me immediately from the policy as written that it would apply when you were out and about.
Okay.
If that was the intention.
Okay, so we could put something in there about the policy is applicable when we're in uniform
Or wherever you are working.
Any further comments? Councillor Brown.
It's difficult to put it when wearing uniform, because when they're on their break, if they're not working, so they're entitled to smoke, but they'll still be in uniform, so you can't.
Okay. Nothing on break. They can come to the village and necessarily come back to the break. Councillor West.
Yeah, apart from saying in buildings or in environment, you could add while using council equipment. So that means they couldn't do whatever in the vans, diggers, tractors, anything like that.
Any further comments? Councillor
It would be
Jones.
easier to define when they can smoke rather than when they can't.
I was slightly concerned about saying that we don't allow smoking in Ashling Park, at the burial ground, Goodman Fields and Heathfield. How can we stop members of the public smoking there? It's an enforcement issue. It says smoking or vaping is not permitted in any part of the parish council's premises at any time by any person. So that's everybody. I think we need to clarify that then. Councillor Brown?
Do smokers not have a right to be able to smoke? It's seen as an addiction.
Councillor Puccini?
There is legislation surrounding where you can and can't smoke, as long as the policy is in line with that, then we should be fine.
Councillor Clay?
In some areas, we could put up a polite notice where we could ask them perhaps not to smoke in this area rather than you cannot, because I don't think it's something we can police. I think that might be the best approach, is ask them nicely not to.
Councillor West?
So I'm assuming this was aimed at our personnel, not the public. I mean, it is law that you can't smoke in buildings, so we don't have to necessarily put that to this. But we're just trying to stop our personnel from smoking, if you like, in places where we don't want them. Then as long as you put it in the buildings, remember that in machinery, and you put it in there anywhere it may cause concern, then you wouldn't want to smoke in the playground where there's a bunch of children there, would you? So common sense would have kicked in there, but I don't know how you'd work that, but when you take the public out, you can't go public where they can and can't smoke if it's not legal.
Okay, so I think we need to work on this and bring it back to the next full council. Is everybody happy with that? Can I show of hands then, please? Okay, thank you. Yes, yeah, that's fine, I'll photocopy it for you. And then we move on to item B, the body camera guidance. Councillor Puccini.
Are we being asked to review just the guidance or the guidance and the policy, because both documents were supporting docs?
So we can't review the policy because that was only adopted by FAMP on the 23rd of August, so therefore that stands. So it's the operational guidance that we are looking to adopt. Councillor Andrioli.
I don't believe we can adopt this, Chair. It clashes with our policy. I must admit, I stopped reading partway through because under 1.2 daily use, the first two paragraphs are, I believe, against what was our policy, which we supply body-worn CCTV so that employees should have it running in case there's an incident. And this is saying if there's an incident, turn it on, by which time it's too late. So I don't believe we can adopt this because I don't believe it is with our policy. It clashes, and the whole point, as I say, of us getting them body cameras was if there was an incident either in a vehicle or with a member of the public, their camera was running, they had it recorded. It's a bit late if somebody's run into you run into somebody in a tractor, I better turn the camera on.
Well, I believe the other reason that we said that it should be running all the time is the fact that if there is an incident and you then turn your camera on, that's very inflammatory and could exacerbate any issue. Councillor Brown?
Yeah, I mean, I thought in our resolution it was that they were to be worn and on at all times. Sure, because we brought that up in the meeting.
Councillor West?
What's the battery life of them?
They will last all day.
I think they should be on all the time. The other thing is if you just turn it on and record what's happening then, who's to say that you record didn't turn and say actually you started and just recorded and good. So they're aware that should be on all the time.
Okay, so the agenda item is to review and adopt the body camera guidance. So Councillor Andrioli has suggested that we can't do that because it's contrary to the policy that we have. Councillor Brown?
I would second that, but I cannot see why we're not using the body-worn cameras. We don't need guidance. We know that basically they have been told what they have to do with them, and we should be using them. The resolution was that they were given training on how to use them, and that they would be wearing them at all times, and they would be on.
That part isn't actually in the resolution. The resolution does say about training, but it doesn't say about the fact the cameras would be on all the time. But that was most definitely part of the conversation that was had. Councillor Andrioli?
I believe it was part of the original resolution when we bought them, that they were to be worn and used.
Yes. Which was actually back in 2021.
Yeah.
Councillor Puccini?
Does the guidance need to come through full council if the policy has been approved and and the resolution included the provision of training? In fact, do we need to know this level of detail?
On my comments, actually, it is that part of this, so the playback and end of shift and who has access is all part of the working practice and doesn't need to come through council. We have the policy which was adopted by FAMP in August. My view is that the policy stands on its own feet. Councillor West?
Sorry, just reading on this one about it says about end of shift. It says the employer who responds for ensuring their body cam warn devices placed on charge at the end of the shift. If they don't, they come on the flat. Do we send them up?
No, I would suggest that someone double checks that they're all on.
It says it's their responsibility to really change that. If they have to work for part of their job and they can't work with it's flat and they can't do their job, then they need to go home.
Or we have backup batteries. Councillor Brown?
I was just about to say we should order backup batteries and they should be on charge and automated when you put the camera on, the spare battery on charge.
Okay, so we'll take answers. Okay, Councillor Andrioli.
We have a seconded proposal, Chair, if you vote on it.
So the seconded proposal, could you summarise your proposal,
Well,
please?
basically, I believe this body camera guidance doesn't match our policy, our agreed policy, and therefore we should not adopt it. It needs further work on it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Brown, seconded.
Yeah, I can't see why we need more work on it. It's just delaying things even further. I don't see that we need this guidance to how to use it.
That is covered in the policy. So we've had a proposal, we've had a seconder. Can I have a show of hands that we do not adopt the guidance as it is before us? That's unanimous, thank you. Item 12, D-Day, Thursday the 6th of June. So this was on the last agenda and we asked Clark to look into some more information on it, which has been circulated. So many parishes are opting not to do anything as it's a commemoration rather than an event. We could either join another parish to commemorate it, so for example Newlands. We could ask a naval person to lay a wreath or light a commemorative fire pit. We could ask the schools to be involved and maybe read the poem. Ask the fish and chip shop to be involved, or buy a beacon, which costs between £1,200 or anything from £1,250. And if we do that, we need to inform the local fire authority. Comments? Councillor Andrioli?
I think that's something, well, thank the Clark for the research. I'm not surprised that other councils aren't doing anything much either. And as we mentioned last time, we have nowhere where we can put a beacon that we own. So we would be trying to get a local farmer or something to let us do it. The only really high spots where it could be seen from a long distance away are basically on the downs, almost in the national park. I'm not quite sure why a naval person should be asked to lay a wreath. There's a fair amount of army and air force involved as well. Yeah, we could do something like that. I guess a fire pit might be set up a mini beacon, but it won't exactly be seen. So,
Councillor
I don't
Parson. Sorry, thank you.
So a combination of asking the schools to be involved alongside asking Navy, Royal Navy, Army and RAF residents of Denby, because we can't get two more armed forces within the village to Denby, so a combination of two.
Okay. Councillor West.
Someone just been muted, ask the local fish and chip shop. What does that fit in?
It's because it's National Fish and Chip Day the day after. Yeah.
So that wouldn't line up with D-Day, was it? It's just a coincidence, isn't it?
So, Councillor Brown.
Oh, actually, don't go forward with this.
Councillor
I would
Jones.
second that if there's no other discussion.
Okay. I was going to propose that I could go and lay a wreath and we could invite any other personnel in the village that wish to lay a wreath. But we've had a proposal and a seconder, so we need to take a vote on that. That we do nothing. Show of hands, please. We've had a vote, we had a proposal and a seconder.
Yeah.
I did add, if there's no more discussion, I'm sure I'll give you the list.
Councillor Clay.
I agree with the proposal that the blinkers and that, perhaps we shouldn't do, but I think we need to do something to recognise D-Day. So if your suggestions are a wreath or something similar, perhaps we can put some minds together over the next coming months or something and come back with something that we do for D-Day to supplement that we're not going to do this time.
Councillor Bacini.
I'm supporting with Councillor Carson's proposal to explore the options of the school and a wreath, something small, but that does commemorate it. So we'll not Councillor Clayson as well.
So in which case we still have had a proposal, so we need to vote on that proposal, and if that falls, we can have a second proposal. So a show of hands, all those that say that we do nothing. And against. So that proposal falls. Councillor Carson.
I'd like that we involve the schools, the community, and that we ask representatives of the three armed forces to play a single bathroom.
Councillor Bacini.
I'll second that.
Can I have a show of hands then, please? All those that agree? And against? Thank you very much. We will ask the clerk to organise. Item 13 is Parish Council Committee meeting dates. The timetable for the following year has been created to discuss and determine action. Councillor Andrioli.
I only had one problem with it, Chair. In terms of the annual parish assembly is noted for Tuesday, the 19th of March. The half term next year is from the 12th to the 16th. Normally that's the time we have it, so that we can usually get to Church Hall. So we may have to be the 13th of March as opposed to the 19th.
We'll ask the clerk to look at that.
But otherwise, I don't think I had a problem with it.
Councillor Brown.
Is there no reason we can't use the money for it here?
Just that we get more attendance in the church. Councillor Brown.
Bit flippant, but if you call 5 people attending a large attendance, I think it could be worth changing to here.
Any further comments? Councillor Andrioli.
Well, we could ask the clerk to look into those dates and see if one or other of the halls is available. Because other than a half term, there usually is a problem, which is why I mentioned the dates.
And we did say that we were going to try and make the annual parish assembly a bit bigger to attract more people, so have more things at it. So I think the Church Hall would be the best venue. So looking at the annual parish assembly for a different date, is everybody happy that we go forward with this as our dates? Show of hands then, please. Thank you very much. Item 14, repair to the pavilion ceiling. We have received a report from the Amenities Committee clerk with regards to a leak. We thought the leak was in the vent, but it's in the pipework. It requires the pavilion to be closed. Initially, we were told 2 days. Someone else has come back and said 1 day. So it's to discuss and determine action. Councillor Bacini.
From my understanding from the committee clerk's report, the leak has caused the ceiling to be weakened. So I think it's imperative that we do the work as soon as we can. Ideally, it would be carried out over the weekend, but as I understand it, Francis, as the amenities clerk, has tried advertising the works to different plumbers, including Royal Church Trade, but nobody else has come forward to be able to do it on the weekend. So I think if it can't be done on the weekend, it does still need to be done. So I propose we go ahead with it, and we'll obviously have to notify the daycare if it means that the link has to be shut.
Councillor Brown?
I'll second the proposal that we go ahead with it as soon as possible.
Councillor Carson?
Will how quickly contractors will be able to do it? But if it could be scheduled within the next school holidays, and we're in half term now, but we've got another.
I don't think it can wait that long.
If the contractors can do it within that time period, then fine.
What about if we put, what about if we put an advert on Facebook, because the local community, there may well be a plumber that would be prepared to work on a Saturday if they know that it means the daycare would have to shut. So we have a proposal to liaise with the users of the pavilion and to ask plumbers that can do the required works and to check their availability to carry out the works at the weekend if that's appropriate, and to arrange for the works to be carried out as soon as possible by a competent plumber at a time which causes least disruption to the users of the pavilion. So we have a proposal and we have a seconder. Can I have a show of hands, please? Sorry.
I was going to say, would be as soon as possible. I think we will, the plumber that has been in contact at the moment could do it on the 6th and 7th of November. So I think if it can be done before then, go ahead. If not, the latest, sort of try and get them booked into the 6th or 7th, so at least we know it's been done.
Thank you. A show of hands then, please. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay, item 15, Denby Parish Council committee structures. To look at the structure of the following committees: Planning Committee. Due to resignations, the committee has 3 or 4 members. We've actually got 5, but currently some councillors don't turn up. And we have 2 new councillors on the committee. Would anybody else like to be added to planning? Okay. Councillor Andrioli, you're already on planning.
No, I was going to make a comment, Chair. I wasn't particularly surprised at the reaction there, but it will become necessary early in the new year, I believe, due to holidays and other matters, that we will have to call in some of the other councillors as substitutes.
So we do have that ability.
We do have that ability. I'm just warning councillors to expect to be asked to attend the odd planning committee in the new year.
Councillor Virginia?
I know it's difficult because obviously we're subject to deadlines from Winchester, but for me personally, the fact that the planning committee meets twice as regularly as other committees is a consideration in going for that one. And so I don't know if you continue to struggle to get members for that, that might be something to consider going to the same frequency as other committees. I actually failed on that one because I was supposed to be giving up the one that was twice as regular, but then I became a chair, so I ended up as FMP as well. So.
Councillor Brown and then Councillor Andrioli.
It is the issue of meeting time deadlines, which is why we have to have them
Councillor Andrioli.
Basically going to say, at the moment, as we stand, we have them every 3 weeks. They used to be every 2 weeks, I would say several times a month, the committee clerk is having to ask Winchester for extensions on their deadlines, so that we can actually have a meeting to discuss the planning application. It's odd, it used to be the most popular committee on the council. That was when it was 2 weekly.
So I think members just need to note that when we are likely to be short, we will be contacting you and saying, can you please be available for a planning meeting? And it will be on an ad hoc basis when we are short on numbers. Then we move on to finance. Oh, sorry, can I have a show of hands on that then, please? Thank you very much. Finance, admin and personnel. It's the recommendation of Clerk and RFO that all vice chairs of committees be added to FAMP committee. This is due to the risk of not being quorate, and if we're not quorate, we cannot authorise payments, which obviously means that we can't pay our suppliers. Councillor Andrioli.
I actually should have probably said this as a point of order before the last one, Chair. The structure of the committees is part of our standing orders. So in order to make a change, we need to change the standing orders. When we made a change, something like 14 years ago, to add the vice chairs, if the chairs of the committees were either chair or vice chair of council, that was a change to the standing orders. It had to wait 6 weeks to go through.
Okay. So are we in the same situation with?
Well, I believe so. Yes. We can discuss and agree that we put it forward as a change to standing orders, but we can't actually determine it this evening, other than to say we think this is a good idea. Let's put it in standing orders.
Okay.
I'll suggest that I think it's a good idea.
And I will second that. Can I have a show of hands then, please? All those that suggest that we amend our standing orders to include all vice chairs for finance and personnel. Thank you. So that will come before next full council then. Thank you. Okay, so Councillor Carson and Councillor Kane have now joined us, and I've explained which committees we are short on. I'm proposing that both serve on planning, and Councillor Kane also serves on highways and general purposes. Can I have a show of hands for that, please? Thank you very much. So we move on to item 16. Heathfield and car park to be listed as matter of community value. Winchester have approved the application and had notification of that, so we note that. Item 17 is the logo. It was agreed at 05624C to run a competition for local graphic designers to provide us with suggestions for a new logo, and we have received those submissions. Councillor Brown.
Won't say far, I haven't those in there, but I actually don't like any of them. My preferred logo is the one that we have on the front of our agenda for tonight's meeting. It shows the village and it shows Kenley Parish Council around it. I don't have a problem with it. It says what it does on the tin.
Councillor Carson, then Councillor Scoley.
I agree with Councillor Brown.
Okay. Councillor Scoley.
I too agree with Councillor Brown.
Councillor Andrioli.
I have to say that, contrary to the other members who have spoken so far, I did not dislike 3 of the ones in the in logo -1. Well, I didn't find any.
You have to tell me which one that
Yes,
is.
well, it's the well, it's not the Mambo one. It's not the
That one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I like the first top two on the right. And perhaps I should say I didn't dislike them.
Councillor Kane.
Sorry, there was a third.
Sorry.
And it's on page 10, the top one on page 10, which is sort of series of buildings with Kenley Parish Council underneath. Those are the only 3, I think. Those were all the ones I looked at, but I didn't dislike.
Councillor Kane.
Given that
doesn't seem a lot of enthusiasm for it. Why would we spend money on changing the logo?
It's in the council strategy that was agreed by everybody that we would look at a different logo.
And we have all the
Councillor Virginia?
I think perhaps it as well, wasn't it, that the current logo isn't particularly easy to transpose onto the website, social media, across uniforms and logos. So there was a practical reason to do it as well, which is why it's being considered at the moment.
Councillor Brown?
We've got a lot of different logos and a lot of different things. I don't think changing our logo should be a necessity. I come back and I still think the original one does what it needs to do. Tells people what we are. It even gives you a picture of the village or the boundary of this village.
Councillor Virginia?
I think there are a couple of nice ones in the logo. One, on the first page, the two on the bottom left that both have the motif of the tree. But I will say, and I said last time, I still liked the tree that is on the signs at the moment, the sort of interim design. For me, that's still the best one.
Councillor Brown?
I would say just on those, the bottom left view reminds me of something to do with the church. I don't know why, but
Sorry, which one?
bottom left, it's got a picture like this with the fruit on over the top.
Councillor Fairley and then Councillor Carston.
Councillor Brown's comment on that one. I'm sure somebody mentioned previously that it's very similar to a religious organisation whose name I forget. Their logo. Not having any dislike of that or any other organisation. It's just that we should look like another organisation, and so they might demand we change.
Councillor Jones.
I think it's very unlikely we'll get a consensus to agree on which of those new logos we like most, in which case I would prefer to stick with exactly what we have now.
Councillor Carston.
So forgive me, but it feels a little to me like change for change's sake. And if there is no specific massive dislike of the original logo, it's something very
Thank you. Councillor West.
That was a proposal of Councillor Sanders, I think.
It was a proposal.
Okay, so we have a proposal that we stick with the logo of the outline of the village with the words Devon Parish Council encircling it. And that's seconded. So you can have a show of hands then, please. Okay, and against? Thank you very much. So that's carried. Thank you. Councillor Brown?
Can we give our formal thanks to the people that did enter our competition?
Thank you. Okay, so we move on to item 18, building developments within the parish. Concern was raised that the piece of land at the north of Tanners Lane would be handed over and there was going to be an ongoing cost and responsibility to the parish council for ongoing maintenance. It was resolved to refer this matter to full council with a recommendation not to take over the land and fund an ecologist. So for our new council members, this is the land north of Tanners Lane that we have received as a result of the Carpenter's Field development. There is an ecology issue in that there are protected species, and whoever is looking after that land has a legal responsibility to protect those species, which would mean basically we would have to have either a trained ecologist, or we would have to hire an ecologist to oversee the work of our ground staff. And there are also other issues around it. So we are recommending that we do not take over the land and fund an ecologist. Councillor Andrioli, Councillor Bacini, and then Councillor Brown.
Something that should possibly have said there, Chair, is this is a recommendation from Planning Committee. The reference to 124p is to plan, is obviously planning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Bacini?
First, the recommendation is to not fund an ecologist. So it's not to take over the land and not fund an ecologist.
Indeed. Councillor Brown?
At the moment, Persimmon have the licence and 2039 it is, but it runs still. So they are responsible for it at the moment, which is why we recommend it's not the fact that there won't be anyone looking after it. There is a licence in place, and we're just not looking to take it over, just for our new members.
Councillor Carson, and then Councillor Andrioli.
Councillor Brown's asking questions.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Andrioli?
Any piece of land like this that comes to parish first goes to Winchester for a year, and Winchester then makes sure that the requirements of the planning application are met before they hand over to us. Winchester do not seem to think this is a problem. But I don't think Winchester have got an ecologist either. But planning committee think it is a problem, and obviously as accepting or pieces of land are a full council matter. That's why it's been referred to full council with planning committee's recommendation, and we don't do it because we would be. It's the current licence runs to 2039. There is nothing to say there wouldn't be another 20-year licence after that. So we could be committing the council to employing, possibly only part-time, an ecologist for an unknown distance in the future.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kane, and then Councillor Scully.
Can I ask who's maintaining or doing work in the field at the moment?
Persimmon, they own it at the moment, so they are maintaining. Councillor Scully, and then Councillor Brown.
We're using this field as a public access area, walks, dog walks and things like that.
It is open currently as public access.
Yeah, so it's just a case of who looks after it. Not a living person.
Councillor Brown.
Two things. One on that. We didn't open his plan. Persimmon said that it was open. In fact, I don't actually think it's been officially opened. And there is also a ransom strip around the outside of that field, which is not in the hands of Persimmon, which poses another issue with the licence.
The issue that causes is the fact that there is a gate into the top half, that the ransom strip runs across the gate, which means that if it were to come to the parish council, we wouldn't be able to put a post behind the gate, as we've done with everywhere else, to protect it from traveller incursions. So I will propose that we do not take over the land and employ an ecologist. Councillor Andrioli seconded. Show of hands then, please. That's unanimous, thank you. Item 19, DPC website update. It's the recommendation that we remove the beta testing from the website. So we have a report from Smart Marketing, which is very comprehensive. The website is attracting a good number of visitors. Unfortunately, we don't have any analytics from the previous website, so we can't do a compare and contrast. But for a parish council website, I think it's to have 5,408 people using it since it was put up. I think if something was going to break, it would have broken. All the links seem to be working very well, so the proposal is that we remove beta testing from it. Councillor Bacini?
I would propose that we go along with the draft recommendation.
Thank you. Can I have show of hands, please? Thank you very much. That's also unanimous. Denmead Neighbourhood Plan. To consider and determine action on a recommended letter to Winchester from the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group. So Councillor Andrioli has written a letter which has been circulated. Winchester have allocated Denmead an additional 100 dwellings to be built in the period up till 2040. Our neighbourhood plan runs until 2031. The additional 100, Winchester previously agreed in writing that any development at Parklands would be taken off of an allocation to Denmead. That was also confirmed in a meeting by Councillor Porter, Jackie Porter, who is the portfolio holder, in March earlier this year when I showed her the email. She said it was quite clear. Winchester are now saying that we are misinterpreting the email. They never said that the Parklands would count. And so the steering group have discussed that and are recommending that Denmead Parish Council rejects the further allocation of 100 dwellings. The letter has been drafted to that effect. Do members wish me to read the letter, or has everybody had the opportunity to read that? Councillor
I'm
Jones?
sure we've all read the letter. I think it's extremely well drafted. I'm 100% behind it.
Councillor Brown?
Echo the last sentence.
Councillor Puccini?
Will you be attaching the May 2021 letter from WCC? I think that would be helpful.
We can certainly do that. Councillor Jones has proposed that we send the letter. Councillor Brown has seconded. Can I have a show of hands, please? That's also unanimous. With the attachment of the email from Steve Check, which I have a copy I can send on to you. Thank you. Item 21, staff grievance, 03924 FAP. Chairman wrote to those councillors who breached the code of conduct and asked them to apologise to Frances Penfold Cook formally. Frances advises that she has still yet to receive an apology. Councillor Berry, do you have any intention of apologising to the committee clerk?
I was waiting for the mediation, which...
No, council's made a resolution that until an apology is received, we will not incur the costs of mediation.
I didn't see that bit in the letter.
Councillor Clay, do you have any intention of apologising to Frances Penfold Cook?
I think I've tried to mend some of the bridges at the previous school council meetings, come to a few hurdles. I've tried to stress what we've all been through. I think it's about time, again, we just suck our guts in and say, do you know what, this is where we are, let's get over it, let's move forward. That is pretty much where I stand. Sorry, but that is it.
So are you saying that you will not apologise to Frances Penfold Cook?
I won't repeat what I just said, but that's where it stands. So I won't answer your question directly now. I've given an answer which I think is good enough that we can all meet in the middle.
I don't believe meeting in the middle was the option provided by the monitoring officer. The monitoring officer provided that you should apologise. I'm asking you a straight question. Do you intend to apologise to Frances Penfold Cook?
She said we should, which she said it's up to our decision whether or not we do that. So at this time, then, if you're going to try and force me into it, the answer is no comment.
Councillor Brown.
Chair, just on Councillor Berry saying that he didn't see that in the email, it wasn't in the email, it was actually in the meeting he attended.
Councillor Clay. Sorry, Councillor Carson.
Councillor Clay, you talked about...
Sorry, Chair. Councillors shouldn't direct questions.
You have to direct questions through the chair.
Councillor Clay mentioned about the steering meeting in the middle. I obviously observed at previous council that Councillor Clay appeared to be exceptionally close, in fact, did in fact say, would a verbal apology be acceptable? And I wondered whether he might consider that would be, should the member of staff be amenable to it, that might be something that could be explored rather than the written apology that is directed by the investigation by the monitoring officer.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Clay, do you have a response?
I think if I can ask Clark, is it possible for us to have a meeting arranged with Frances, so I can discuss with her a little bit in more depth about what she requires, and we can move forward with that from there.
Councillor West?
No, I don't agree with that. The resolution was that, sorry, the resolution was that they should apologise, and that was a recommendation. I think having another meeting would put Frances in a position that we shouldn't be putting her in.
Councillor Brown?
I'm with Councillor West. I think that's very confrontational to have a meeting with someone that you are accused of something.
Councillor Puccini?
I think we've sort of got two separate things at play here. I think we've got how we as councillors interact, and then we've got the interaction with a member of, with the committee clerk, so the member of staff. I think with councillors, we have all separately at different times of the rule, we all want to move forward and move forward constructively. So I think we've got agreement for that. And we did, it was the 21st of June full council when the monitoring officer was here that we did agree that once the apologies were received, we would do mediation as a council to move forward. I think everybody committed to that because it's a council resolution. What's outstanding or what is slightly different is what's outstanding there in relation to a member of staff. And I feel it's important that we do comply with the monitoring officer's recommendation on that. And if those apologies are received, we as council will then move forward together through mediation and into the future as we committed to do. And I stand by that discussion, that decision we had in June.
I concur entirely with Councillor Puccini. I am very keen that we draw a line under this, which is why I asked the direct question, because as far as I'm concerned, once we have the direct answer, that's it, the line is drawn and we can move on. Councillor Clay has said that apology is not going to happen. Councillor Berry, can I ask you the question again? Do you intend to apologise to Frances?
I'm going to read that letter again, which I looked at, because there's a bit of confusion, yes. Sorry about that. So I will look at the letter first and let you know then.
Thank you. I will move on from that now. Thank you. Item 2 is the 22 is the confidential report.
Sorry, Chair.
Sorry, Councillor Brown.
So this is to discuss and determine action.
Sorry, yes.
So we need to formally vote on an action.
Councillor Carson.
I did not hear that Councillor Clay was refusing to apologise. I heard that he wanted to try and take it forward, if that was in a way that was unacceptable to us. Would it be acceptable? Because I think if that happened, we would all move much, much further forward, much more quickly. Is there a possibility that Councillor Clay could meet with Frances with a councillor, I don't mean a councillor, I mean a council who can employ councillors to sit in with that, not as a mediator, just so we can try and get that apology, whilst not in writing, verbally, that will possibly help.
Councillor West.
No, again, I'm totally against that. To put Frances in that position is not correct. And if Frances says no, she will not accept a verbal apology, she wants a written apology, then she will be seen as the bad person in this. And at the moment, she's not, she's a victim. So I think the monitoring officer gave a judgment, gave her a ruling, whatever you want to say. And I think as councillors, everyone should abide by that. Now, To me, if someone has made a mistake and written that up, giving you the benefit of the doubt, threatening the lady with the sack if she doesn't turn up, she has every right to expect a written apology. Because, I don't know, I'm going to leave it there.
Councillor Brown, then Councillor Kane, and then Councillor Jones.
We can't speak on behalf of Frances, so we cannot make a resolution to say that we can have a meeting with her. It's up to her whether she wants that.
Councillor Kane.
Could I clarify if it was a recommendation from the report writer?
The monitoring officer's report, the recommendation was that the councillors that wrote to the members of the staff threatening them with dismissal should write and apologise, and it actually specifies should write and apologise. That was the monitoring officer's recommendation in the report, and when you sign up to become a councillor, which you will do later this evening, you agree to abide by the code of conduct, and you agree to abide by any findings of any investigation into breaches of the code of conduct. So you sign to say that you will agree and abide by the code of conduct.
Okay, I'm still just clarifying, so it is a recommendation.
It is.
It's not, it doesn't carry formal status.
No, it is a formal.
I'm just trying, that's what I'm trying to
No,
understand,
absolutely.
because I can understand your grappling with this, but I'm not so very clear about what the status is.
Winchester employed independent solicitors. It cost the village £25,000, or not the village, it cost Winchester £25,000, and the report took 2 years because they investigated lots and lots of code of conduct complaints, and the findings were that the councillors that wrote to the members of staff on headed note paper should apologise to the 2 members of staff. Councillor Jones.
I'll just ask Councillor Berry and Clay after this meeting at some stage to sit down together and go through this whole point, because until such time as an apology is received, it's going to be a nightmare. This is going to continue on and on. It isn't really that hard to make an apology, and I think all the things that you're hoping to achieve about working together can then move on, because I think once that has been done, the big barrier that has been created by that refusal will be sorted. And I have to believe that both of you want to be involved in council and want to move forward, so please do the right thing.
I completely echo Councillor Jones's sentiment. Councillor Kay.
Appreciate that. That's good words. I feel that if we're unable to meet now with Frances, then after the apology has come, the chance of mediation won't happen, because if she's not willing to meet now, how's mediation going to work after the apology? You can't just change overnight.
The mediation is for council, not for the members of staff. Mediation is for council. There is nothing to mediate with the staff.
I'd just like to thank Councillor Carson for picking up on the verbal. That was a route we were willing to explore, so thank you for at least bringing that back.
Councillor Brown.
Sorry, Chair, we cannot make a decision for a member of staff to meet with someone. That is entirely their choice. So,
Councillor Andreoli.
Not only is it totally their choice, we have a duty of care to make sure we do not put them in any position they feel uncomfortable. So,
at least ask her formally. This is where we've got to, and if she says no, then sorry.
Councillor Clay, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to put a member of staff in that situation.
What you do with that now is...
We have a duty of care, and after what our staff have been through, I do not believe that that is the correct thing to do. And I can see lots of nods around the table as well.
As long as you believe that I haven't obviously been through the same, that's fine. So I've had a good couple of years in mine, I think so. My mental health has dropped, I feel degraded. So you laugh as much as you want, but it's not funny. What? You said I threatened them with the sack. I didn't dare at all. I did not threaten no one with the sack.
Sorry. Councillor West is the name, so I'm going to respond to that. I've seen the letter and they were threatened with the sack. And it's on record, that letter. It was on record. So if you signed something you didn't read.
Chair, can we just bring this to a close?
Yes, indeed. Councillor Andreoli.
certain members of this council have been judged by an investigation by the monitoring officer to have breached the code of conduct, insofar as they sent a letter to 2 members of staff on heading note paper, which did threaten that if they spoke to anybody about it, they would face dismissal. And we know this because they sent the same letter to 5 members of this council. Now, 5 members of this council have sat here and listened to this going on for 3 years. We have had to put up with a empty threat because the members of the council cannot be sacked. But we know what was in that letter because 5 of us got it, and I've still got my copy at home if anybody wants to read it. And so we don't count in terms of it being a breach of the code of conduct against us. It's only against the 2 members of staff. And I think it's only right that this should be mentioned that at least 5 members of the council got exactly the same letter.
Councillor Brown.
Chair, we need to just move on from this, I'm afraid. We're not going to get an outcome from it tonight, can we?
I would like this off of the agenda because I am frankly tired of discussing the same issue time and time again. The apology is clearly not going to be forthcoming. So I'm going to propose that the record shows that the members of the council that were asked to apologise because they breached the code of conduct have continued to fail to provide that apology to the members of staff, and that it then be removed from the agenda.
Sorry, Chair, can we also add that our mediation cannot take place?
So I make that as a proposal. Councillor Puccini.
I think we also need to make the monitoring officer aware that that is the how this has ended, and that is where we are at the moment. Well, where we will remain, because we're closing it down.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you. Can I have a show of hands then, please? And against? And abstain? Thank you. So we now move on to item 22, the confidential report, to pass a resolution by the Public Body Submissions to Meetings Act of 1960 to exclude the public and press for discussion of the confidential report relating to the following matters: relating to trees and a residential property, matters relating to a request from a resident regarding housing, and to receive an update from the Lease Working Party regarding a business licence that DPC grants, and solutions to DPC office space.
I shall